Explaining Casting Rain by Silver Sky 13. You may or may not recognize Casting Rain from my unfinished animatic project, and I am indeed talking about the same Casting Rain because I am undoubtedly obsessed with it, and I have no shame. Before we really get into the story, I'd like to point out that this is based on Undertale's game mechanics, so you really just need to understand how souls work and just the basic world stuff. Humans are a lot stronger than monsters because of their souls. A lot stronger, like OP anime protagonist level strong. The bad thing is, monsters and humans are at war, so monsters aren't exactly in a fair fight here. And that is why monsters started summoning elementals. They're very strong, most of them practically invincible, and you can mold them into whatever purpose you want them to have. That also means they can turn against you because of how strong they are, and they're seen as inherently dangerous. So an escort sort of system is in place. The escort is there in case the elemental goes unstable. Unstable meaning they would have to be dispelled, aka murdered, but it's called dispelling for some reason. I don't think I really have to explain why that's bad, considering elementals are living and breathing sentient people, but you get the idea. Anyways, back to the actual plot. A little fire elemental is summoned. It's the 1200s, and Grilby was summoned to fight in the monster-human war, specifically on the monster side. Grilby is given to Gerson and sent to war, his purpose being to fight as a soldier. And things go well for a while. Gerson is a chill dude. Then Gerson gets promoted. Good for him, but that means Grilby needs a new escort. Amathea and Wingding's Gaster. Amathea is the commander who's his new escort, Gaster just being another one of her charges. They're both positively wacky, and Grilby doesn't really like them at first, specifically Gaster. But they warm up pretty quickly considering Grilby punches out a random-ass monster in defense of Gaster in the 13th chapter, but I digress. They also meditated this one time, and then Grilby burned down an entire army, which was pretty cool of him, not gonna lie. Things are looking good for them, you know, ignoring chapter 22 because that was actually horrifying. Also the downpour where Grilby almost dies, but anyways. They have a fight on a bridge where we meet our villain, Thistle Bayhaven. She's super strong and uses weird monster magic that mages like her never use. Friendship is magic though, and they survive, and Grilby gets a cool new nickname, the Mage Slayer. Eventually they meet 4 stone elementals, who serve the king himself, Teros, Aura, Umber, and Gravin. These guys are very hardwired to their purpose, and Teros is not afraid to shove that in Grilby's face. To him, friendship is not magic. Which leads to a conversation between Gaster and Grilby about how the entire elemental system is, but we'll get back to that way later. Other than all that, I sure hope nothing bad happens to this trio. Yikes. Well, now everyone's dead. Something called white magic that was used by a mage exploded the entire battlefield, killing humans too. And everything is on fire. Here's a list of everyone that died. And also, I forgot some major information about monster souls at the beginning, and I feel like now would be a good time to say it. Monster souls are made of love, compassion, and just everything good. So if a monster is, say, super depressed and suicidal, they could literally die because of it. And since they're made of more magical stuff and not physical stuff like humans, they turn to dust when they die. Their bodies just can't persist after death like humans do. So no will to live is a huge deal to monsters. With no will to live, they just won't. Elementals are monsters, so apply that to Grilby. His entire being is based around his purpose to him, and these two were his whole world, his new purpose, Grilby's words. So he's not exactly in the greatest state after they're gone. After a period of almost dying in his sleep because of how miserable he is, Thetis sobers him up and he gets his life back up and running again. You know, after giving her the letters Amathea died with. He can't read, so he's been promoted to a commander because literally all the other commanders died in the battle, and he has his own unit to train and teach now. Also, he has a new escort, Rookie the White Whisper. They're kind of mean at the start. They don't really like each other. Whoops, Gaster is alive. Sporting a new scar, him and some ghost named Kerr, who's only alive because humans can't see ghosts, get an escape plan together. Thetis is Kerr's boss, so they'd know what to do if they escaped, since, you know, Gaster and Thetis already know each other by Amathea, so they're all weirdly connected. But anyways, there's a huge magical barrier surrounding the human camp they're stuck in, held up by some mage. Some mage being a little kid mage named Rowan, Thistle's younger brother, perchance. Whoever the hell he is to Thistle, I don't remember right now, but they're very close. So on the day Gaster is to show his cool magic to all the humans, because that's the only reason he's alive right now. He has cool magic. He snatches up Rowan and uses his weird soul magic stuff to dissect the kid's soul, taking down the barrier for a split moment, enough for Kerr to get out and get help. That bites him in the ass though, and he gets tortured with white magic by Thistle for a bit. Boom! Perspective change again. Teros and Aura are also commanders now with their own units and new escorts too, so Grilby isn't all that alone. Grilby and Teros are tasked with going to 2 different human outposts and killing the humans there with their new units, of course. So after brutally burning the humans alive and leaving his unit terrified, they go to find Teros. When they get there, it's destroyed, and Teros and Grilby start fighting. Grilby obviously wins because it's Grilby, and knocks Teros out of whatever the hell is wrong with him. Weird. Grilby finds a broken mage's staff, but hides it and doesn't tell anyone. Teros is super remorseful and sees it as his fault, and Grilby comforts him by saying the same thing happened to him with Gehenna. It didn't. So Teros isn't dispelled. Yippee! Okay, we gotta go fast now because this is getting way too long, so I'm gonna simplify a lot of it. They go to rescue Gaster, Grilby under a human disguise. He kills Rowan without Gaster knowing, and gets into a fight with Thistle. Thistle resets the world after dying to right before she gets to the tent. They fight more and more until Thistle gets tired of dying and lets Gaster free before running away. They get back to their side of the firewall. Yeah, remember when everything was on fire? That never went away, and it's called Gehenna now. Grilby has a fight with Teros, Gaster, and Thetis, all for differing reasons, before Gehenna is gone and he gets mind controlled with white magic on the battlefield. Gaster saves him though. He wakes up in the capital, and after some hijinks of getting food, drinking some alcoholic beverages, meeting a ton of new elementals, and getting a taste of that Mage Slayer fame by getting some free clothes, and saving the elementals in the capital by stopping the higher-ups from dispelling them all because that mind control, white magic stuff did so much damage. The finale is here. Grilby and Thistle have an epic battle, Gaster just being a distance away trying to help a family out of their burning house. Thistle helps though for some reason. I love Thistle and Grilby's whole dynamic because this is where we see they aren't all that different from each other, and the characters themselves see that too. And Grilby seeing Thistle was just like him when he was grieving. He can't muster up the intent to hurt her like before, and that makes Thistle see the same thing, that they're both just 2 sides of the same coin. Grilby apologizes for killing her, for doing all he did, and Thistle has a mental breakdown. They take their opportunity and run away to the castle where they hide underground. The next day, 7 mages and a fuck ton of humans show up, one of those mages being Thistle. Thistle casts a spell using all of the other human souls and puts up a magical barrier. Remember that one barrier surrounding that human camp Gaster was in? Same kind, I guess, except with the power of 7 human souls. Yeah, they're never getting out of that fucking mountain. Thistle dies and all of monsterkind is stuck in a mountain. At first, a bunch of monsters die because they all have no hope left. They're literally stuck underground and they're probably never even seeing the sun again. Grilby almost died again, but like always, Gaster saves him by just begging him to not die, and holy shit, this moment broke me because, like, if Gaster hadn't begged, would Grilby just die right there and then? Probably, but still. Over time, they explore the underground more, make a city, I don't know, they make the best out of what they have. And some years later, Grilby has his own restaurant now, and he can read and write and count and do math. Well, now that he can read and finally has a restaurant, he reads Amathea's letter that was for him specifically. The whole letter is sad as hell and he cries, but Gaster comes out and comforts him, and they get back to work on his restaurant. The end! Thanks for listening to me info dump about Casting Rain and how much I'm obsessed with it. Here's some credits and cool fan art.